Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm K Holm and this is Teddy, King Theodore Teddy. Follow him on Instagram. Today's video is gonna be a little bit different than your regular makeup tutorial style video. I kind of wanted to do something a bit more casual and just hang out with you guys in my living room. Thought we could do a Q&A together. When I first launched my YouTube channel, I went on Instagram and I asked you guys what content you want to see from me. And I got a really big response and people saying they'd like to see a Q&A. So I wanted to make sure I delivered and answered all of your questions. You guys asked so many amazing questions and I feel really organized today. I actually have all the questions right here. We typed them up, printed out, feel super on top of it. So let's get into it. Where do you shop the most? And do you just wear clothing that you get for free? Honestly, that is pretty funny because this outfit was free. Yes, okay. But to be honest with you guys, no, I don't get a lot of free clothes because you guys follow me, you probably know, I post so much makeup. So I get a ton of, makeup from brands, but not so much clothes. What inspired you to become an anyway? This question's a little bit deep for me. I started wearing makeup when I was 11 or 12, and this is also a time in my life when I knew I had scoliosis and I knew I needed surgery, but I was very young to get that surgery, but I had to have it because if I wouldn't have had that surgery, I wouldn't have been able to live this long. That's how bad my surgery was. If you guys are interested on that journey in my life, we can get into that on another video because that's also really deep for me. I was really insecure at that time in my life. When I started to really get into makeup and experiment, it made me feel so good. It empowered me. It really just it gave me this power. It made me feel good and it gave me the confidence to go to school and deal with these people that were mean to me. They would just make fun of how one shoulder was higher than the other, one rib was sticking out more because my back was twisting. And it's not something that I was born with, it's something that I inherited, and it showed up in my life when I was about in 3rd grade. So I had been dealing with it, but I didn't know how bad it could actually get and how it would change my life. So makeup helped me so much and I loved the way that it made me feel, and I wanted to be able to share that with other people and be able to give them that gift and make them, empower them, make them feel good, because when you look good, you feel good. And I always knew that I wanted to be that person, just to have that feeling, to put a smile on their face and make them feel good. What's something no one tells you about being a celeb anyway? You have to sacrifice everything for this job. I mean, everything. And you have to be okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. But it's sometimes your family members or other people in your life that it kind of takes some time to get used to. At this point in my career, I've been doing this for so long, everybody's used to me by now. I make plans with people and then I have to cancel all the time. It's just the name of the game. You miss out on New Year's, you'll miss out on birthday parties, on family occasions, you'll miss out on Christmas, holidays. I mean, you kind of just have to be available. So that's something that I feel like nobody really shared with me. If you want it bad enough, none of that will matter to you. And I always knew that I wanted it. Nobody's gonna hold your hand in this job. There's gonna be very few people that will even probably help you. That's one of the reasons that I wanted to start a YouTube channel. I wanted to create a community that helps each other, because I feel like when I was starting off in this industry and moving to LA, there's really no one to talk to about any of these things. So I wanted to create a safe space where you guys can come to me for support. Do you ever dermaplane your face? I actually did a dermaplane facial right before our wedding and it was amazing. So it's basically like a little razor that they use and they take off all of the dead skin. It takes off any peach fuzz on your face, and I am Middle Eastern, so let me tell you, I am one hairy person. So it was amazing. My skin was like butter, it was really smooth, but I felt like I had to switch it up and stop doing that for a while because as I've gotten a little bit older, my skin's kind of changed. It's gotten more sensitive. So I actually haven't done it in a while, but when my skin could handle it, I was obsessed. I think this is 2 questions. What's your favorite foundation concealer and tips for flawless foundation that lasts all day? Favorite foundation concealer? That is kind of hard to answer because as a makeup artist, I feel like I'm always kind of pulling and grabbing different things. But an old school favorite is Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation and NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I always feel like the combination of both always look really flawless on the skin. And tips for flawless foundation that lasts all day. It's really about how you prep and set the makeup. If you want your foundation to last hours and hours on, I would probably do less on the skincare. You don't want the skincare to weigh the foundation down throughout the day. So a lightweight moisturizer is usually pretty great if you just want that longevity. And then of course, baking in certain areas. And if you have more mature skin, I would probably skip out on that. It's really all about how you set the makeup too. So if you set the makeup really well with translucent powders, maybe like a lightweight Charlotte Tilbury, that airbrush flawless finish powder that they have, that's a great one too. So setting, and you guys will see more of this in my makeup stories. Why did you start YouTube? I always wanted to start YouTube, but I knew it was all about timing. And when I first moved to LA, I put all of my focus on building myself, building my brand, making a name for myself. I knew I needed to get more A-list celebrity clientele, so that was the vision. Being in this career and living in LA, I've noticed that there's very few people that you can go to for advice on anything, on just the basics. How to act, how, like around a client, like how should you be, how to dress properly, how to, I mean, just like the smallest little questions. I just felt like I moved here from Houston, Texas, and I didn't really know anyone. So I had to learn the hard way and figure everything out on my own. And there's really no one to hold your hand and do any of this for you. I felt like very just thrown into this world, and I don't take any of it for granted, and I have no regrets, and it has made me so strong of a person to go through the motions and to learn everything on my own. But I have always been the person that likes to give and help other people. So the purpose of this YouTube channel is to share my knowledge. I want my channel to be very informative. Other than that, I want this to be a safe place where you guys feel like you can ask me questions, career advice, relationship, whatever it is. I want to be there for you guys, and I want to create a family and community on my channel. How did you start, and how did you get your clientele and reach the level where you work with celebs? I started off working at MAC Cosmetics in Houston, Texas, right after cosmetology school. I really started from the bottom, honestly. I probably would have never left MAC Cosmetics if it wasn't for a certain situation. I was obsessed with this job. I lived and breathed everything MAC, and I really got my reps in there. This was a place where I was really able to work with so many different types of ethnicities, people with skin conditions, people with all kinds of, skin disorders would come in and need help and come to me. So I really was able to work on my people skills, work on my makeup skills, and really just all around perfect my craft. I remember we would check out, we would clock out at the end of the day, and when you would clock out, it would tell you how many people you helped. And I remember looking at that time card or receipt, whatever it was, and it would say I helped 50 people, for example. I checked out 50 people, I touched 50 people's faces. That would just blow my mind. I worked so hard while working there, but all of those things really helped me to get here. So I definitely appreciate the hardships, where it came from, and all these little stepping stones. And I remember I really wanted to be a trainer for MAC, and I didn't get the job. I studied, I worked so hard at this, and I really worked to get this job. And I had really been polishing and perfecting my public speaking skills because I wanted to be an educator. So I'm really glad that I was able to do that while working there, but I ended up not getting the job. I was devastated. And my boyfriend at the time, well, we're actually married, Holm and I are married, and I remember we had just met and he just got me, we just clicked. He told me, he was like, you gotta quit. So I ended up quitting, and he believed in me. He was like, you would be an amazing freelance makeup artist. You have all the clients, because people were booking me on the weekends all the time. I had built up a name for myself in the city where I'm from. So for 6 months, I focused on me. Did something for me for the first time. And ever since I left MAC, I think I worked almost every day in Houston, just doing like weddings and event makeup and just like random stuff like that. And it was amazing. But while I was there, I already had felt like I hit a plateau. So anytime that I had a free moment, I was calling up my friend Jesus. He's actually in LA too, amazing hairstylist. I would call Jesus and like all my other hairstylist friends, and I would say, let's find a friend of ours, let's do their makeup, and you do their hair, and let's post it. And let's all post it and create this like synergy on Instagram and just create some kind of buzz. And I don't know if anybody cared, and we didn't really care. The point was to put your work on social media and stay consistent. Instagram was new at this time, so it was a fun new tool to use. A lot of these things that I did for free. Like, I didn't get paid for any of that, like just doing stuff for fun and posting it. We would stay up for hours doing different looks. But the point is to practice and constantly practice and not stop. And that's exactly it. I think that no matter what it is that you want to do in your life, the more work and time that you put in, you're going to see results. I always knew that I needed to get out of Houston. I felt like I hit a plateau. So I worked in Houston for 6 months as a freelancer without MAC on my own. And during that 6 months, I would make trips to LA, and I would post on Instagram saying, I'm going to be in LA, book me during these dates. It worked sometimes. It didn't always work. But the point was, I was putting it into the universe what I wanted. Not only was I manifesting what I wanted, but I went and I got it too. You have to go after what it is that you want. You can't just sit around and think like, oh, I want to move to LA, I hope it happens. You have to get up and go, you know? So that's exactly what we did. I think I made like 3 or 4 trips to LA, and I would reach out to people that I wanted to work with. Not everyone would answer me, but some people would. And yes, you have to do a lot of free work in the beginning. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And to this day, I still do free work. I mean, when I'm doing the cover of V magazine or Nylon or whatever, you don't really get paid for any of those things. You're just doing it for a credit. It's like a for trade situation. So no matter how big you get in this industry, there's still moments where you're doing trade work, just because we do it for the art, for the love of it. Do you consider yourself an influencer? You know, I do. I would honestly consider myself more of like a hybrid, because I feel that I'm like half of an influencer. Like half of my time is kind of being an influencer, but the other half is being a celebrity makeup artist. They're both full-time jobs. I feel like as an influencer, you need to be doing product reviews and constantly updating people on products and things like this, and just really staying on top of it in that aspect. And I find it to be kind of more challenging on my end, just because my number one, my bread and butter, is my celebrity clientele. That comes first in my life. So everything else that I do on social media, like YouTube or any other side projects, anything with brands that I'm doing, I'm really working all of that around my clientele, since that comes first. So I wouldn't fully consider myself like a full-time influencer or anything like that. I love seeing your travels, especially with your husband. Where all have you guys traveled? Favorite travel moments, countries? Holm and I have honestly traveled all over the world. We've been to the Middle East, we've been to Qatar, we've been to Bali, Costa Rica, Tulum, Europe, France, Paris, Cannes, St. Bart's. But I feel like Costa Rica, for some reason, just sticks out so vividly in my memory, because Holm here really got me out of my comfort zone. We were on this ferry ride for probably about over an hour. And I was in this like long gown, like very, you know, vacation style dress with a big hat, super extra, just wanted to be cute on vacation. And I remember this, as soon as we got off of the ferry, this big like van picked us up and there was a bunch of other travelers in it with backpacks. And I just looked like a girl going on vacation. Clearly I didn't do my research on Montezuma or anything. We get in this car and there's no AC and I'm like sweating so badly. And I remember just asking Hamed like, okay, so there's no AC in this car right now. Is there gonna be AC in our Airbnb? And he was like, oh babe, you didn't read the Airbnb like description. It's moments like this that really get you out of your comfort zone, and for some reason these weird and wild and crazy trips are usually my favorite for some odd reason. So anyways, we get into Montezuma, then somebody from our Airbnb picked us up from there, from the town, took us to our house. It was called Casa Los Rocas, House on the Rocks. The house was so cute. It was literally a jungle hut on these rocks. There was water. It was like, you were basically on the beach, but the house was on rocks, and then you were surrounded by the jungle. I've never seen anything like it. I felt like I was just submerged into this environment, and I was a little bit out of my element, out of my comfort zone. It felt really weird in the beginning, but I remember this trip so clear. And I don't know, I just think it's moments where you're getting out of your comfort zone, it just changes you. We would wake up in the morning to howler monkeys. I remember seeing bats in the morning too. Like, it was just like, I've never seen so much wildlife and nature right in front of me. This was the first trip we went on to, like, as a couple. I had just met him. So yeah, we've had a lot of really weird, interesting travel moments, but Costa Rica is up there. Do I have to go to a professional makeup school? Where did you go to school to become an MUA and get a license? To answer that, no, you do not have to go to school to become a celebrity makeup artist or a freelance makeup artist. If you want to go into like TV and film or like special effects, highly suggest going to makeup school. And even like that aside, I always suggest education. So whether it's going to a makeup school, where I grew up in Houston, Texas, at that time, there wasn't really any makeup schools. So I begged my parents to let me go to Paul Mitchell Cosmetology School. So I actually do have a cosmetology license. Have I ever really needed to use it? No. It was really my way in to just get into the industry because I had no connections. I had no help, and I had no clue on how I would get here to where I am today. So at that time in my life, I was like, Paul Mitchell Cosmetology School, let's go, you know? And I just felt like I had a natural knack for makeup. Let me learn hair, maybe I'll love hair. Paul Mitchell Cosmetology School was honestly one of the best things that has ever happened to me, starting off as a makeup artist. It was one of the most fun times, creative times of my career. It was so much fun. You just constantly need to be educating and practicing. You really have to practice your craft. This is something that I'm constantly working on even today. Never stop educating yourself, whether it's watching YouTube videos, doing makeup on your friends, you know, just recreating looks. You have to constantly be working at this craft. It's really important. And that's the only way to get better and to grow, just to constantly practice. How did you learn to be so good at makeup? Do you ever get nervous? I don't really feel like I get nervous when I'm around new clients or really just any of my clients. Instead of telling yourself I'm nervous about something, the story you tell is very important. I always tell myself, instead of saying, oh, I'm nervous about doing so-and-so, I say, I'm excited. You're not nervous, you're excited. Your words are important, so really remember that. It's called cognitive reframing. Never say you're nervous, it's always, I'm excited, I got this. I'm that bitch. Tell us about your life outside of makeup. I don't have one. Honestly, I spend a lot of time with my family outside of makeup. I'm always with my dog Teddy, my husband Hamed, and we just like to live a pretty healthy lifestyle and constantly work on ourselves. We do a lot of like outdoorsy types of things. We love to go on hikes and run in the mornings, trying to find like new food in LA that's really yummy. We love to travel, although I do feel like a lot of these things have been put on a halt this year, as you guys know. So it's been a lot of like at-home moments with my family because I feel like that's just the 2020 way. You are body goals AF. How do you stay so fit? Spill the tea. Okay, sis. I feel like I'm one of these people that has to stay on a routine because my schedule is so all over the place. My schedule is different every single day, but one thing that I like to keep the same is like my personal health routine, and that is waking up early, running a mile every morning. I try to drink a green smoothie every day just to get me feeling right, get me energized. I do a lot of like stretches and things like that just to help out like my neck and back, because I'm always standing up on my feet, and really just live an active and healthy lifestyle. How has COVID affected your life and work? Honestly, COVID happened and everything just slowed down. Slowed down. I just tried to find the silver lining in this situation, and I finally had the time to start YouTube, which was amazing. And with work, we've all just been trying to stay safe and take all the safety precautions. So we've been wearing, of course, face masks, face shields. I get tested like 2 to 3 times a week. So really just out here trying to stay safe and stay busy. How did you get to know the Kardashians? Honestly, through word of mouth and just having a good reputation. Your reputation is everything. There's actually a motto that I used to say all the time. I haven't said it in a while. I think it's know your job, do your job, mind your business. And that's it. Who was your first celebrity client? It was actually Lily Galici. She really inspired me to move to LA. She's also from Houston, Texas. She's an entrepreneur, businesswoman, reality TV star, model. I don't know, she's kind of just done it all. She's beautiful, she's a goddess. And she's somebody that I really look up to. How long have you been in the makeup industry? A little over a decade. Man, time honestly flies. Do you ever have days where you're tired? Yes. It's so nice to just enjoy an off day to kind of like rejuvenate yourself and take a day for self-care. I love days like that. It's because I'm always on the go. What is one makeup product that you can't leave the house with? I got the answer to that question right here. My Big O tinted lip balm. I'm gonna put some on. It's always with me. It just feels so good on my lips. I just love that it gives like a natural pinky hue. So this is how I normally look when I go to work. Super chill, just natural, and it plumps your lips. How did you start doing makeup in LA when you lived in Houston, Texas? I used Instagram as a business tool. I would basically get on social media and I would post that I was gonna be in LA these dates, book now. And it would kind of work sometimes. I would definitely get some random bookings, and I would also reach out to people too. So I would reach out to influencers, I would reach out to maybe, I would reach out to some celebrities. Honestly, anyone that I wanted to work with, I would just put that energy out there and just try. Growing up, what were your inspirations for makeup and what age did you get into makeup? I got into makeup at a really young age. I think I was wearing makeup at a time where I should not have been wearing makeup, but you couldn't tell me anything else. I was not about to listen because I loved it. I had to have it on my face and it made me feel good. I discovered makeup when I was probably like 6 years old. My mom gave me a Princess Jasmine chapstick for Christmas, and I just remember going crazy. Like I went wild over this chapstick, and she spent all this money on getting me something else really cool, and all I cared about was the chapstick. So that said something at a very young age. But when I really started to get into makeup, like really practice on myself and experiment, I was 11, 12 years old, really young. I know what you guys are thinking, but it's something that made me feel good. I was really insecure, and I remember just like looking up to everyone that was older than me. I don't know why, but I was really fascinated with women that wore makeup. I felt like they looked so beautiful and so confident in their own skin. And I remember being really insecure as a child, and I went through a lot of personal things as a kid. And once I discovered it, I was like, wow, like when I put this on, I feel cute. I feel better about myself. And it's something that I always practiced, and I would do it on myself. I would do it on my friends. And I grew up in the 90s, and when I was, 11, 12, we were in the 2000s at that time. So I was always really inspired by 90s supermodels like the Cindy Crawfords, the Naomi Campbells, Just all of those women of the 90s that were icons, I was always looking at them on the cover of magazines and like trying to recreate those looks with my drugstore makeup, of course, because that's all I could afford. I was like a little kid, you know? And I was always taking my mom's makeup too. Tell us about your origins being Swedish and Lebanese. So my dad is actually Swedish and my mom is Lebanese, but let me share a little bit about my name. So my last name is Holm, like Stockholm. So that's where that comes from. It's actually a very Swedish last name. And my mom is Lebanese. So both of her parents are Lebanese and I'm just a little hybrid, mix of both. But I grew up in America, so born in Houston, Texas. My parents actually met in Houston, Texas. Shockingly, there is a big Middle Eastern population in Houston specifically. What do you use for storage and travel? I'm actually working on a glam room makeup tour, so make sure to check out that video because I'm gonna get down and dirty on how I organize my glam room and all the little pieces of makeup. Favorite comfort food? Pizza. Pizza's everything. Favorite client ever? Ooh. That's a really hard question to answer, honestly. All of my clients are amazing and I love and appreciate them all. But I feel like I have so much fun with Khloe Kardashian and Shay Mitchell. Hanging around them is like hanging out with your best friend. How do you take photos for your IG? Pretty much everything on my Instagram is taken on my iPhone, but also lighting is everything. You have to have good lighting. If you don't have good lighting, you could have the nicest camera in the world, but if you don't have good lighting, the picture is probably crap. Are there any odd jobs that you've had and anything you learned from them? I've had many of odd jobs. At 14, I was a lifeguard. I also worked at a bowling alley, I think in high school, so random, like what? I was a waitress for a really long time. I did that. And then I worked at MAC Cosmetics for probably almost like 5 years. All of these jobs, I feel like, are service jobs. So I have been working with people my entire life. I do feel like it's really helped me to perfect my people skills, which really comes in handy considering that I do a service job still till this day. What keeps you motivated every day and any tips on what helps you stay so consistent? Really good question. It is very tough to stay motivated every day. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. In this job that I'm in, I don't have a boss or anyone over me, so I have to constantly motivate myself and pat myself on the back. No one's really gonna do it for you. The things that help me just stay focused and motivated are taking care of my mind, body, and soul. I like to get up and run every morning. It gets my mind right, it gets my blood flow going, and I feel like it gives me energy and it puts me in a good mood. That has really worked for me. Before it was running, I was like working out. I also meditate every day for 10 minutes. I have to do that. Sometimes I don't even really have the time, so I just meditate in the car. Meditation is all about your breathing. So just practicing those breaths calms me down. And after I finish doing my 10-minute meditation, I feel like I see things more clear. And if there's a curveball that's thrown at me throughout the day, no matter what it is, I can handle it. And I always feel like it helps me to remain super calm and chill. Sounds silly, but I also like to do power poses. It's interesting. I feel like ever since I've started doing these power poses, it has made me feel more confident. You can like stand up and do like a superwoman pose like this. These power poses, 10-minute meditation, and also affirmations are so important. I just feel like the higher you grow in the industry or the higher you move up in whatever job that you have, things are stressful. They just get harder, you know? So you have to find things that keep you motivated and just keep the vision clear. And these are just things that have helped me. What was your breakthrough moment or event that launched your career? What was that I've made it moment? When I got the call that I was gonna be doing Ariana Grande for the Met Gala, and that was my first Met Gala, that was a moment. I think I had tears in my eyes. I'm pretty sure I did. Getting to do the Met Gala as a hairstylist, makeup artist, or stylist is the I made it moment. You feel it. Also, anytime that I'm in the Middle East in a faraway land, working with a princess and the royal families. That's also another moment where you just feel it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's Q&A. If you guys want to see more Q&As in the future, if you guys like this style of video, please comment down below. And of course, like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to my channel so you guys can get updates on more videos. Love you guys, I'll see you soon. That's it. Teddy, come here. Inja. You're so cute. I'm emotional. It's a wrap. I gotta go back to work. Cute. He's so cute. Because you just gotta remember, you gotta tell yourself that you are that bitch. Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Constant hard work leads you to success. Greatness will come.